Welcome back for another chapter in the Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth board game. Let's get started here. We'll load our previously saved game. Moving into Chapter 4, The Forsaken Inn. Nara's information points you to the Forsaken Inn, the last outpost between Breland and Rivendell, far to the east. Within dilapidated walls rests an agent of the enemy. You will need to ferret out the spy before they can alert their allies or escape, and extract information regarding the plans of your foe. Next adventure will be a battle map. Note this is a mystery scenario. Players will need to use deduction to win. Our lore still isn't high enough to upgrade any of our cards, and just one away from Aragorn getting the card he wants. So we'll continue as is, keeping our current rolls. The Forsaken Inn is a stout, unforgiving stone building that rises suddenly out of the wilderness. Place battle maps as indicated. Barred windows and thick oaken door are foreboding, though they are clearly intended to make the lone building as safe and secure from outside threats as possible. However, you know there's very dire threat within those walls. It is up to you to end that threat. Place heroes as indicated. Each hero scouts 3. Before scouting, we'll take a look at the cards we have prepped. We have well provisioned for Aragorn and his equipment. We have rope with 2 uses. Travel garb, banner, and a sword to provide 2 hits for 1 success and additional 5 if we get 2. And then for Gimli, we have You Cannot Pass prepped, his trusty battle axe, ring mail, and boots. And the boots has 2 uses on them. So we will begin to scout 3. Not knowing what's coming up, we will, well, we're not going to be wondering. We'll prep this. I'm sorry, put that other card on top of our deck, prep Thorngill, and place the Wanderer on the bottom of our deck. For Gimli, a little bit lazy, we'll put that on the bottom of the deck. Prep Poet's Heart. And put Restless Axe on top of our deck. So now we need to place the statue in 2 bushes. 4 walls. And 3 tables and a fire pit. The barrel and a statue. The atmosphere of this place is like a cat stalking the outskirts of a crowd of people, apprehensive and hesitant. You should be careful what you say. Uttering any information you learn from Hanera could alert the spy. Threat increases by 5. Each hero gains an inspiration. The spy is of any skill. They will have a way of slipping in and out of the inn without attracting notice. They should also carry wounds from their encounter with Hanara. You must discover which guest at the inn meets both of these criteria before they grow too suspicious, but you are sure the enemy agent will try to lie about their injuries. You have to use all your powers of deduction to capture them. Objective updated. Discover which guest is the spy. Garden of Herbs and Hardy Vegetables grows to one side of the yard. Place a search token. Hulking muscular woman with a shaved head tends the bar. She keeps a sharp watch on guests, guarding the back room from filchers. Place a person. Nora mentioned that she and the innkeeper were once close. If you tell the innkeeper that her eyes shine brighter than the stars above, she may be able to offer you further assistance. Behind the innkeeper, an ancient black cat lies on the windowsill. Place a search token. Several thin, dusty books are laid near a window. Place a search token as indicated. Tall, thin man smokes a long pipe in the corner. Place a person token. Barred window looks out over the wilderness. Place a search token. Diminutive, curly-haired hobbit. Lass huddles close to the fire, eating stew and drinking a tankard of ale. Place a person. Broad-shouldered dwarf in the blue cloak hunches over table near the door. Place a person token. There are several points of interest around the inn, and you might be able to find clues as to why the spy is by searching them. The bushes, statues, barrels, and fire pit do not function as normal. Unique terrain is marked by a sparkle effect. Instead, any hero can interact with them to search for evidence. So, on to our action phase. Well, we have some sparkling bushes. So we'll have Aragorn start with a move. Thick wild bushes grow together in tangled, prickly masses. We will investigate. Push aside the thin needle bushes, shaking the rustling the branches. Disturb a nesting robin whose loud noises and insistent peeking force you to concede that no one trying to be stealthy could be using these bushes. You back away and watch a feathered mother tend to her young. Suffer face down damage and gain an inspiration. Thankfully, Aragorn has travel garb. Before you suffer face down damage, you may prevent one of that. So we will prevent that damage, but gain the inspiration. So we sent the right person to look in the bushes. And to further finish his movement, we'll have him move over here next to a statue. And then Gimli will move in here and talk to this dwarf. Broad-shouldered dwarf in a blue cloak hunches over a table near the door. So he's got options to look at the scar. Got it wrestling a bear. What do you think of the other guests? What brings you out to the Forsaken Inn, or apprehend the spy? And of course, never mind. I think Gimli would be a look at the scar kind of guy. You attempt to impress the dwarf with tales of your feats of strength. Test might. So we'll take 4 cards. We have 3 successes. Put that in the app here. Dwarf rolls up one sleeve, revealing a great deal of bruising. Met a hungry wolf in the wilds just the other night, but I fended it off single-handedly, with only this to show for it. And with that, he'll move over to interact with the halfling who's drinking on the next turn. So that's 2 actions for both. To the shadow phase. Shadow deepens, though hope yet endures. Threat increases by 4. Rally phase. Tira resets their deck and scouts 2. Aragorn didn't do anything, but we'll shuffle anyway. And he will scout 3 because of his ability. He's going to be late. We'll put that on the bottom. Might need some spirit, so we'll prep that. And put that on the bottom of the deck as well. Gimli's not close enough to benefit from Aragorn's ability. So just 2 cards for him. Agility and wit. I think we're going to need some wit. So put this on the bottom of the deck. Starter action phase. We will go with Aragorn using well provisioned. Start of your turn, you may discard the skill for you and a nearby hero to scout 2. That'd be just for himself. Let's see. We'll prep for some agility and put this on the bottom of the deck. And for his first action, we will interact with that statue. Statue in Forsaken Inn small yard is crumbling and worn. Investigate. Nothing seems strange about the old stone effigy, and its inscription is similarly worn away by time. However, there's something caught beneath one edge of the statue. You attempt to move it. We will test might. So 3 cards. We have 2 successes. And you know what? Why not? Let's go ahead and make it 3 for good measure. So back in the app. Statue shifts slightly, revealing a ripped section of vellum. Yellowed with age, the scrap of paper contains a fragment of an amusing song that raises your spirits. Become determined. So that is a boon we can add. When you test, you may discard this boon to discard any number of cards from the test and reveal that many additional cards. So if we get a bad draw later, we can use that to help. And then we will move Aragorn over here to do some searching on his next turn. Now Gimli inside will interact with a halfling who's drinking. Sorry, hobbit. How's the food here? Have you found travel dangerous? What do you think of the other guests? Or never mind and apprehend the spy. Being a dwarf, he's going to ask about how the food is. Oh, do you appreciate good food too? You have a moment to impress the hobbit with an old family recipe. Testing wisdom. Probably not going to be too impressive. So 2 for wisdom. We have 1 success. You blather like a fool, and you worry the spy might be listening in. Threat increases by 5. Note to self, Gimli's not too wise with his old family recipes. So for his second action, he'll move over here and try not to blather too much next time. That will end the action phase. Into the shadow phase, increasing by 4. Your investigating in the tavern has shown you how reticent the guests can be. One of them must be the spy, with a treacherous heart and lies on their lips. But it's difficult to discern the answer when everyone is so hostile to outsiders. Each hero suffers 3 fear, with spirit negating. So Aragorn has 2 spirit. 1 success. We can discard this to get us another success. And spend inspiration to negate all three. And for Gimli, Spirit of 4. 3 successes. So no fear from that. Into the rally phase. Each hero resets their deck and scouts 2. Hopefully things go a little bit better this turn. So 3 cards for Aragorn. I'm trying to make him wiser. And we'll put both of these on the bottom of the deck. And for Gimli, he will just get the 2 basic for Scout. Once again, a little bit of laziness, and we'll go ahead and prep for Might and start with our actions. We'll have Aragorn interact with this search token. Must be hard to get supplies here. The inn appears to compensate for the scarcity with a side garden devoted to growing various herbs and vegetables. Examine the garden and find nothing of relevance to your investigation. Still, the smell of rich earth and green growing things is invigorating. Gain an inspiration, then discard the search token. And then we will move 2 and go into the inn. Gimli. Whoops. Earthquake. Tall, thin man smokes a long pipe in the corner. Do you have a spare pipe? What do you think of the other guest? Pardon me, could I interest you in a healing salve? So we'll go with the, do you have a spare pipe? Man grumbles, but offers you a spare pipe. He blocks any attempts at conversation until the 2 of you smoke in silence. At least the downtime will help deflect suspicion. Threat decreases by 3. And he will interact again with asking what he thinks of the other guests. The room seems to stand still, every ear listening. Test spirit. It's good for Gimli. It's his best. So we have 3 successes. And because we want the best option possible, we will make it 4. The man considers your question. No one here is worth my good opinion. Only hours ago I saw the dwarf over there finishing off a skinny, injured wolf. And immediately after, he started bragging about the conquest, even showing off wounds as if they were badges of honor. So Aragorn will interact with that dwarf. Let's see, what brings you to the Forsaken Inn? What do you think of the other guests? We'll go with the basic. Dwarf's business is their own, and I'd thank you very much to keep out of it. Dwarf's stony face is impenetrable. At least your attempts make you look more like a harmless busybody, and suddenly no one wants to be paying too much attention to you lest you catch their eye. Threat decreases by 3. And then he will move 2. And that will be the actions. To the shadow phase. Threat increases by 4. Rally phase. Tier resets their deck and then scouts 2. We have Aragorn nearby Gimli, so they'll both be able to scout 3. Go ahead and shuffle Aragorn's deck. And take 3 cards. Like this. We will prep Strider in case there is a fight. Put this on top of her deck. And that on the bottom. For Gimli, three cards. We'll prep Kinship. Putting down You Cannot Pass. And put both of these on top of the deck. For action phases, we'll start with Aragorn this time and have him talk to the innkeeper. Hulking muscular woman with a shaved head. We'll go with the Your eyes shine brighter than the stars. The innkeeper flushes, but she recovers quickly. That line works better for ranger girls out under the sky. She shakes her head and at some memory. How is Hanara? No, never mind. I don't want to know. Enough that she's alive and a friend of yours. You have full run of my inn while you are here, of course. Hanara meant enough to the innkeeper that she appears disposed to aid you. Though obviously you are unable to tell her the full details of your visit, the innkeeper will now allow you to search the back room. Threat decreases by 3. So we will go ahead and move into the back room. And Gimli. He will search this token over here. Barred window looks out over the wilderness. You turn back to the inn, you realize that everyone's attention has passed over you. Threat decreases by 3. Discard the search token. And for the second action, take a small move. That will end the action phase. To the shadow phase. Threat increases by 4. To the rally phase. Tier resets their deck and then scouts 2. Gimli is nearby Aragorn, so both will be able to scout 3. Go ahead and shuffle. Getting 3 cards. We will use Unyielding Spirit, getting rid of Strider, and then put these on the bottom of our deck. For Gimli, let's see here. Spirit is already good. Agility is not that good, but we'll, just in case, we will prep that. Discarding Poet's Heart. Put Restless Axe on top and this on the bottom of the deck. Aragorn will interact with the barrels. or the dusty books. Thumb through the dog-eared volumes and find yourself drawn in by the lovingly detailed descriptions of smithing techniques. Lore increases by 1. Discard the search token. We will try harder to hit the barrels this time. The inn is not short on good beer. Enormous barrels are piled high against the wall. Doesn't seem like something he would do. So he'll go back to the statue and investigate that. Find the statue is a clumsy likeness of an illustration in the book. The statue appears to be of a famed weapon master, and you find yourself reading about her legendary weapons with great interest. Lore increases by 1. That was 2 actions there. Gimli will investigate the search token. Behind the innkeeper, an ancient black cat lies on the windowsill. Coo the cat. Cat does not seem impressed by your attention. You have to try something else. So for wit, we get 2 successes. And just to be awesome, we'll make it 3. Cat stands and stretches, bounding over to you for much deserved head scratches. It purrs happily. Gain an inspiration, then discard the search token. Gimli's made a friend and a cat. Who knew? And then he will walk over here because he will drink for free. That will be 2 actions in the action phase. To the shadow phase, threat increases by 4. For the rally phase, each hero resets their deck and then scouts 2. But that will be 3 cards each. So far, I don't know who the spy could be. All right, so we will prep the wit. Getting rid of the wisdom. And we'll put these both on top of our deck. And for Gimli. Three cards. We will prep Fury and then just have 2 successes on top of our deck. We'll have Gimli look at the barrels. He will help himself. Take your fill of one of the barrels. Nothing will stop you from catching this conniving, no good, treacherous snake. Become determined. So we'll add that boon to Gimli. And then he will go talk to the innkeeper. Or move over there for the next turn. Aragorn will move out. Talk to the halfling. He will ask, have you found travel dangerous? And not as much as everyone was worried about. I'm little. I can disappear easily from the wrong sorts of folks. Casual small talk sounds natural. Threat decreases by 3. And And Gimli will talk to the innkeeper. Ale and stew, please. There's stew in the pot. Pay me your coin and serve yourself. Beer will have to wait until these glasses are clean and dry. There are not usually so many guests at once, and the halfling dirtied more than her fair share of dishes. She flips a wet glass face down and begins wiping another one. If you need entertainment until then, I've heard each of the other guests complaining about ailments. I bet there's some stories there. And for second action, you will move 2 to go back and talk to the other dwarf. That will be both actions. To the shadow phase. Threat increases by 4. Rally phase. Each hero resets their deck and scouts 2, which will equal 3 for both of our heroes. So for Aragorn, well, we will just prep this since we already have 4 cards prepped. Goes to the discard pile, and we'll put these on the bottom of our deck. And for Gimli. Three cards. Lazy once again. Let's see here. We will prep Poet's Heart. Restless Axe on top. And the Lazy card on the bottom. And then Gimli will interact with the dwarf again, using his Poet's Heart first to gain an inspiration. Ask about the other guests. The room seems to stand still, every ear listening. Testing spirit. We have 2 successes. And we will spend an inspiration to make it 3 successes. The dwarf shrugs. See no reason to pay much mind to strangers. Sharing a common room, though, we may be. And we will move him over to this space. So for Aragorn, we'll interact with the Hobbit. Ask about the other guests. He will test Spirit, which for him is a 2. But we will use his card here so that he can test his wisdom instead. 2, 3, 4. We have 2 successes, and we'll spin an inspiration to make that 3. The Hobbit last giggles, then waves you closer. That dwarf over there goes on and on about killing some wolf or other. But if it was the wolf I saw the dwarf kill today, then it ain't much to brag about. Poor thing was almost dead on its paws to begin with. Tell you, I wouldn't be showing off a wound I got from such a creature like it were something impressive. him move over the space here and end the turn. In the action phase. Threat increases by 4. The rally phase. Each hero resets their deck and scouts 2. We're still able to have each virus scout 3. I'm leaning towards the dwarf, but that almost seems too easy here. So 3 cards. We'll prep time of need and put 2 successes on top of our deck. And for Gimli, this guy's gotten lazy in the bar. We'll prep Poet's Heart and put both of these on the bottom of our deck. We'll start with Aragorn. He'll ask about the guests. Consider subtle ways to ask about other guests. That's a wit. So we know there's 2 successes on top. We will go ahead and use this to make it a 3rd. The innkeeper nods knowingly and lowers her voice. Well, they keep to themselves mostly. I give them their privacy. They've all been here about a week now, and I'm appreciating the coin and the company. None of them complain when I lock everyone in for the night. Some guests hate that, but it's for their own good. No one comes or goes when the moon's high. I'm always willing to let a guest out into the yard for a midnight pipe if they need to, but even then I keep a close watch just in case. And for the second action, move down to the dwarf. Gimli will interact up in the corner using his Poet's Heart to gain an inspiration. We'll ask him if he's interested in a healing solve. You attempt to look unassuming using wit. That is 2 cards. With 1 success, we will spin an inspiration to make that 2. I do, but I warn you, I'll not pay exorbitant amounts due to our surroundings. I'd rather suffer the free bruises from a fall for my horse rather than spend my already dwindling coin on an overpriced poultice. You continue to haggle with the man until he tosses you a few meager coins in exchange for a small pot of eglantine salve. For Gimli's second action, he will move by the fire. That will end the action phase. The shadow phase, threat increases by 4. Notice that the guests in the inn have started to close off, hostile to your continued investigation. Soon the spy will surely slip away and fetch their allies. Should use deduction and the information you have gathered to catch them before they can get away. Each hero discards a boon. So both boons are gone. The rally phase. Each hero resets their deck and scouts 2. Which will be 3. Well, we will prep the Wanderer. Put 2 successes on top. And for Gimli, prep Ancient Wisdom, Restless Axe on top, and this on the bottom. Can't lie, really don't know which one to go to. Thinking it could be the dwarf, or it could be the tall man in the back. Would like to think a ranger would have been able to tell us if it was a hobbit that attacked her. So I will have Gimli go over here and accuse the person in the back corner. If your guess is mistaken, you will not receive another try. Failing to guess at all, however, will be an equal disappointment. You ready to commit your guess? Not really, but here we go. As you struggle to take the agent into your custody, the rest of the inn erupts in confusion. The spy at first loudly protests their innocence, then slips into the harsh language of the orcs to curse you and your name. Finally, the scene quiets, and you are able to question the information at length. The spy reveals that the man from the south, Hanera heard of it, is called Adarin, and he is knowledgeable in the old things that lie in the ruins of the once great kingdom of Arnor. He hopes to gather powerful relics from throughout the land through the aid of his orc army. Adarin's orcs have already started to march to the ruined city of Fornost, where they seek something called the Silent Scepter. The scepter, the spy says, is rumored to lead to an even greater treasure. The heroes win. You have identified Adarin, the ultimate foe. You'll need to travel to Fornost and hopefully stop whatever plan he has for the Silent Scepter. Lore increases by 3. Each hero receives 4 experience. Thanks for watching along. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the like button and don't forget to subscribe.